G&T show is intended for mature audiences. Parental discussion is advice. Live long and prosper, bitches.
Star Trek, The Final Frontier. These are the voyages of the G&T show. Our continuing mission, to explore Star Trek storytelling, to seek out new worlds and interesting characters, to boldly go where no show has gone before.
Naomi Wildman. I was setting it up. Oh. Welcome to the G&T show, where obviously we have no script.
Yeah, let's just get this puppy started.
As always, the beautiful, the lovely, the high-booted, short-skirted, big-breasted Terry Lynn.
That would be me. Admiral Shaw.
She's badass.
It's Ceridium.
Good morning. It's Sunday on the G&T show.
You know the worst part of this morning? It's not the getting up early. It's the fact they're making me wear clothes to do the show.
It's time for Coffee Clutch.
Strap on your helmets, boys and girls. It's gonna get rough.
Oh, it's gonna be one of those mornings.
Let me put on my seatbelt, my helmet with the little blinky light on top.
For safety.
When we decided we were going to do the G&T show,
Man.
one of the things we said was no standards. G&T show does not go on the air because we're ready. It goes on the air because it's 9 o'clock on Sunday morning.
Mike could have snapped by then and killed us both. Pain sticks for Mike, evidently.
We have our production meetings on the air.
Well, it's the best way to get you to adhere to things.
Yeah, you've now set an expectation. That's the thing about the G&T show is we set no expectations.
I need more coffee.
Wow,
I'm trying to figure out whether or not I want to do general news or Star Trek news, and I figured
This is
out,
Terry
fuck
having
it.
a series of small
It's news.
strokes, actually.
Boy, it doesn't take long for this show to deteriorate, does it?
Straight the fuck downhill.
I don't always podcast, but when I do, I G&T.
Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the G&T Show, episode 139. I'm Terry Lynn.
Joel on true, bitches, I'm back. The network enforced suspension is over. We're still fighting it legally for some back pay, but you know, I gotta do what we gotta do. But look at Terry looking quite resplendent in her new Easter dress with her bonnet and her little basket of flowers, looking gorgeous. And
Looking
I
just
can't.
like Laura Ingalls.
Yeah, exactly. Except every time she runs down the hill, she falls. And look to my right, your left. I can't quite see him through the cloudy haze that is 420. It's Ceridium. Is that the good Orion shit?
You know it.
Yeah. I got some Cardassian stuff for later, but we'll discuss that.
Well,
The hookah.
happy Easter, happy 420. At least I'm not wearing a bunny suit this year.
Wait, you could be. I can't see you through the haze.
True.
Good morning to everybody, and good morning to everyone in the chat room joining us for this Easter Sunday G&T show. We decided yesterday that we were still going to do a show because we could, and we figure most people are home, and maybe we'll get some more listeners out of it. You never know. You never know. It's time for Coffee Clutch.
People sitting around on their candy high.
Jerk it every so often. Twitch.
Oh, you meant, never mind.
Starburst jelly beans.
Really?
Yeah.
Are they the shit?
They're the shit. I really like them. They're really, really good. They've made amazing strides in jelly beandom in the past.
Jelly bean
decade.
technology?
Yes, jelly bean technology has improved by leaps and bounds over the past 10 years. You know, they used to just be gritty, sugar-covered jelly. Ugh.
Do you ever remember, am I the only one that this happened to? You'd like had your Easter basket, right?
Mhm.
And then somewhere around November, you were doing something and you found it again, and there was like 1 or 2 jelly beans in the bottom. And
Yeah,
you just
hidden
had
in
to
the
try them.
grass.
You had to try them. And
Alan
every
and
year
I-
it was the same thing. Why did I do that?
Why did I do that? Alas, earwax.
I'm going to tell you straight up, never have been a fan of Peeps.
My father used to eat them like they were going out of style.
I've always been disgusted by them.
Did you see the
I did. I have it.
TOS Trouble with Tribbles Peep creation?
Yes, that's adorable.
It was very cute.
It was so sweet. It gave me a toothache.
Okay. Oh, all right. Who posted the picture of the bunny? Oh, Matthew Anderson did. Matthew Anderson just posted a picture of a bunny with a switchblade. And Alan yesterday on Facebook found, did you know that there are actual bunny jumping clubs?
Bunny jumping
Just
clubs?
stop, because if we get on this, we will never have a show this week.
Oh,
Because
it is too funny.
still nothing is as adorable as a bunny with a pancake on its head.
That well, it is.
I had
so
to
funny.
call out of work on
We could
Friday.
not stop laughing. Yeah, why?
Pollen, literally.
Oh,
I was like, Yeah, I was like down. It's Thursday. They thought I had a cold at work, but it was just a goddamn pollen count. And it's okay. The almanac said that we were going to have the winter that we had, and now the almanac is saying that it's going to be a long, very hot, very humid, very thunderstormy summer.
Yep.
So, yay. Yeah.
We got notice yesterday that El Nino is popping up in the southern portion of our hemisphere, which means yay for us. Actually, I'm very happy for it. I hate to say it. I know it's bad for the East Coast, but I'll tell you what, if the Southwest can get any rain, you could definitely use it.
But you won't. It'll all be here.
We're supposed to get rain this year, so we'll see. We'll see. It's so bad.
It's not, it's the part about it being humid that I mind. The rain and the heat I don't mind. It's the humidity. It's just it's gonna be brutal.
I can understand that. How's things in the Central Valley there, sweetheart, Michael?
It's well.
Wow, the excitement never stops there.
Pretty much. Well, based on what you guys are saying, it's going to be one long, hot summer then for us.
Yeah.
It's not like we had a lot of rain and no snow to begin with.
Right.
So.
You would not believe how high our rivers are right now here.
And how low our reservoirs are.
Yeah, I know. But it's like, it's going to be interesting because I always check it out as you know, I'm driving over the bridges or whatever to just kind of track how long it takes for it to recede. It's something that always interests me. And it has not receded in like the last month because of all the snow we've had that's now melted, you know?
Yeah. I watched the Cincinnati-Chicago baseball game the other day.
Really? Why would you do that?
I have MLB.TV.
I know, but Cincinnati-Chicago?
Yeah, well, it was the only one playing at the time. It was like noon, and I put my iPad on my desk, and I just play baseball games during the day. So that there's some people have a radio. I have my iPad with baseball on it, and it just so happened that it was so cold that some of the players were wearing like ski masks.
Are you serious?
Yes.
On the field?
On the field. They were cold. They had open face, but their ears were covered.
Oh, okay. Was it in Chicago?
Face? Yeah, it was in Chicago.
Okay.
And I felt so bad because everybody in the
Oh my God,
was
do you know how
parkas.
bad their hands had to hurt if they got a hit?
Yeah.
Oh,
I know.
can feel that right up through the elbow. Oh.
Speaking of which, did you see that guy knocked the cover off the ball this week?
I saw that.
Are you fucking kidding me?
I saw
Dead
a clip.
serious.
Anyways.
Who the hell did that?
What was it? Was it Rodriguez? Who was it? I have to look it up now.
Well, I got to tell you, well, you're looking that up. I look like I have the phage.
Well, why?
Well, when Army Reserve was for the week, and we capped it off with the Saturday with the 9-hour walk of the Gettysburg battlefield, doing what's called a staff ride. A staff ride is where you go to a historical place, and basically the whole week was centered around us learning how to give a proper staff ride. The research involved and setting it up and doing everything. So I ate 9 hours on the Gettysburg battlefield on a beautiful 70-degree cloudless day, and here I was with my Dr. Evil bald head.
Oh, no.
So now I look like I have the phage.
Oh.
But I've got one fucking hey now bass stand going.
I put the link of that ball cover knockoff in. It was Maldonado.
Brewers. That's interesting.
It was really funny. If you get the opportunity, there's probably 3 or 4 different recordings from the different television agencies and radio stations that were there. And it's very funny because every single one of them is like, I've heard about this, but I've never seen it in my life. It was very funny. So there's the bunny jumping competitions. That's going to be my new, is watching bunnies jump over hurdles. So cute. All right.
I went and saw a very interesting movie yesterday. Oh my God, I'm so lucky to be alive. I spent Friday and Saturday with a group of friends of mine that, oh my God.
You said your stomach was hurting from laughing so hard.
Yeah, it was me and four women, and all 4 women are certifiable. But oh my God, I laughed so hard.
Good.
But we went and saw Oculus.
Which one's that?
That is the one that Katie Sackhoff is in, and Karen Gillian. It's classified as a horror movie, and it's the one with the mirror. If you've seen the commercial,
No, I've never heard of it.
yeah, it's actually I would call it. I understand why it's classified as horror, but it's very Hitchcockian, and like it's like I would classify it as the genre of deep suspense, where like the jumps are coming and everything, but and it's got ghosts and everything, but it's the movie is a mind fuck. It's like wow. And what impressed me is, the cast is pretty damn good. Like I said, Karen Gillan. Oh, 2 hours of Karen Gillan on the big screen. I mean, really, that's all I needed. But Katie Sackhoff is really good in it. So yeah, there's the trailer. And it's really crazy and trying to figure out what's going on, and it's very 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 heavy mood. No teal and orange, Terry. Well, Karen Gillian's hair is orange, but that's whenever I see her, I think of Tara Knaffel.
Yeah,
but it's one of the things I really liked about it is there's like the gore factor is like a 1. It's
a suspense factor.
That's totally suspense, and one of the brilliant
kind of
things,
like Aliens.
Yeah.
Okay.
One of the brilliant things it does is, the jump moment has become cliche. When this movie builds it up, like there were several scenes where I'm looking at it from the point of view that, unfortunately, I look at movies now. Okay, here comes the jump scene. They've got it framed this way. Where's the jump scene? Where is it? And then it never shows. And then like 5 minutes later, boom, there's a jump scene. I was like, oh, well done. Well done.
Oh, that's
and,
cool.
Since he's here now, I would like to thank the beautiful Black Magnum for filling my seat while I was out on Army Reserve.
Thank you, Black Magnum. Good to have you back in the... It was fun to have him.
Yeah, and we also watched The Ring this weekend. So it was, we figured, Easter weekend, let's watch movies about the dead.
What was it? A couple of weeks ago, I watch reruns of Castle every so often. Because they usually do like Wednesday night, I think it's TNT or something, and it plays them all in like a marathon. And I saw one a couple of weeks ago that I had never seen before, and you talking about The Ring brought it up to me because the whole thrust of the procedure, the murder was that people who had viewed this certain video started to die. It was pretty funny. It was hilarious.
Terry, you haven't seen The Ring, have you?
Oh, are you kidding? No.
Mike, have you seen it?
Yeah, I think so. A long time ago.
Something interesting about that movie is, of course, it's based on there's the Japanese movie, and then they remade it here.
Remade it.
And the Japanese version is just unbelievable. But rewatching it the other night, 2 things stood out to me. One, Terry, I think you would like it for the reason of all the orange and teal in it. But again, I think that was one of the first movies to use so much teal, but it was very much, Mike, would you agree, dependent because of the way it was filmed and the just the atmosphere of it. It was almost like a fog throughout the movie, which was really cool. But the other thing was how many shots they did that were almost shot for shot the Japanese version, and then transferring it to here in the U.S., but it fits so beautifully.
Yeah.
And I also watched a really interesting documentary last night that I recommend everyone watch.
Oh.
It's called Milius. It's about the life of John Milius. I can see our audience looking at each other and scratching their head. And, that's a name you actually know, but you don't know you know. In the late 60s, early 70s, there was a group of film students who went to USC, which, they say in the movie now there's waiting lists to get into USC Film School because everybody wants to be a director. Back then, it was just like in this ramshackle little building because who wanted to be a director, because of the way the studio system was set up. But there was a group of guys that were all at USC Film School. There was this John Milius, some other people you may have heard of. One of them named George Lucas, another one named Francis Ford Coppola, and they, friends with guys like Steven Spielberg, and they all hung out together. And their passion, as we know, was movies. Well, John Milius was the first one to kind of break through because he was a really good screenwriter, and that's look, we all know Lucas can direct, but we all know also writing dialogue is not his thing.
Right.
Milius, on the other hand, is he wrote Dirty Harry. So
Make my day.
No, the first one. So his "Do you feel lucky punk.
Oh,
Will
yeah.
do ya? You know, he had a real grasp on that kind of thing. So that's how he was the first one to kind of break into the system. And Matthew Anderson's put in there, and then he made. Nobody could make Heart of Darkness work, and he's the one that did. He wrote Apocalypse Now. He was one of the main writers on it. It brought up a really interesting point in the documentary. Is Kramer versus Kramer swept the Academy Awards that year? Name one iconic scene or a line from that movie that anybody talks about, or who talks about that movie now?
You're asking the wrong person.
Right, but you know what I'm saying.
Right. I understand what the point is. I also happen to think that might have been the downfall and the start of writing scripts for catchphrases as opposed to content.
No, but he did not write it for that. It's stuck. Like, they don't understand why they said in it. They don't understand why I love the smell of napalm in the morning. Everybody grasped onto. Of course, if you've seen the movie, it's because Robert Duvall was fucking amazing in that movie.
I was going to say, other than the fact that they used it in their own advertising.
But the line that they said was pivotal to the movie, to them, was Charlie, don't surf.
Right, but you have to remember, is for all of the people who've never seen the film, and there are still quite a bit, there's still very, very many, they'll always remember the line from the commercial.
But yeah, and then it shows he did The Wind and the Lion.
Yeah.
And then Conan the Barbarian, which, you know, if you think about it, but Conan was a really good movie.
Yeah.
And they talk about how people, like, even though it was rated R, were pissed off because they took their kids to see it, and it's a violent movie. It's about a barbarian, you know?
It's like what was it that Will Wheaton was talking about? He was watching the South Park movie again not too long ago. He started talking about a story about going to see a 10:30 p.m. show, and that there were parents that brought their 7-year-old to it.
To a 10:30 show.
A 10:30 showing of
a rated R cartoon.
And he says, and they took the kid out during a particular scene. And he goes, so I have to think about this. We're going, your 7-year-old hearing the song Uncle Fucka isn't so much of a problem as it is, except when Saddam Hussein pulls out the dildo.
Yeah.
Hey, Satan.
You know, I found
apparently that's where the parents had to draw the line.
You know what's funny about South Park, the movie? I found the reading of the plot synopsis far more hilarious than the actual movie itself. Because just the idea of Saddam Hussein in hell in love with the devil and the devil spurning him. And then Milius made Red Dawn. And then
the original.
Yeah, the original.
Did they ever release the
Oh,
subsequent
yeah.
one?
It was in the theater.
And it bombed like we thought it would?
I think it had a huge opening weekend because so many of the cast became famous after it was made.
You're talking about the first one?
No, the first one was a huge moneymaker.
Well, the first one was better.
Well, yeah, no, but the second one got...
all right, it's got a 12% on Rotten Tomatoes.
There you go. But, and then what's really rough is, and you have to see the documentary, is he's this... I'm trying to remember the name of the movie where John Goodman, they were wondering if the character is based on Milius, because Milius is this big, like, hulking guy who's, like, bigger than life and you know, into shotguns and all this. But Steven Spielberg said he's probably the most amazing raconteur he's ever been around. And then he has a stroke and he can't talk. And, like, what's the worst thing that could happen to somebody like that is, you know, the words are all in their head. And I actually got tears in my eyes in the scene where, like, he's trying to talk. It's him with his speech therapist. And you can see it. I mean, you can just see that the words are there. And it's like, it was heartbreaking to see. But yeah, it's an amazing documentary about a guy that people, like, you know, we know who Lucas is. We know who Spielberg is. We know who, the Big Lebowski. Thank you. I couldn't remember the name of it. Just this guy who really was at the forefront of his generation of filmmakers, but never went the commercial route, if you will. Oh, Terry, here's something. He rewrote the USS Indianapolis scene in Jaws because it was only like 2 paragraphs. And then he wrote it where it was 10 pages.
What an amazing scene that was.
He wrote it where it was 10 pages long, and then when Robert Shaw got it, he cut it down to 5 because he said there's no way I could remember 10 pages. So he took, like, the highlights of it, and that's what probably the greatest scene in that movie.
Yeah,
and
that scene. And then that's because it's and not the least of which is it also builds tension around, because it's all quiet. It's at that quiet moment of the film because it's after they've already done the drinking song, right?
And Sean Connery.
So funny.
Yeah, it's after that because they were comparing scars. And then Sean Connery, he did the rights for the writing of the speeches for Red October for Sean Connery, because Sean Connery, it's the only guy Sean Connery trusted to write speeches for.
Interesting.
So it's like no matter what movie Sean Connery was doing, if he needed a speech, it was Milius that would write it.
That's cool.
Yeah, so I mean,
so it's called Milius.
Yeah,
cool. And where did you see it?
I saw it on Netflix.
Cool.
Highly recommended though for our audience, because if you talk about storytelling, here's a guy who he's a storyteller.
I'll watch that. We should probably get on. We have a lot of Star Trek news this week.
Excuse me.
Sweet. Mikey, before we get on to Star Trek news, did you do anything this week? What did you do?
I kept hurting myself this week.
Mike's into pain now.
Apparently so. Yesterday I may have broken a toe. And
how?
Earlier, well,
what'd you stub it into?
Well, I had poop duty, so I was, and I was taking the big garbage can, and it didn't roll, so I pushed a little harder. And,
oh no!
And got it going, and then all of a sudden it got stuck again on something. I don't know what, and then it rolled backwards and smacked.
Ow!
Yeah, so I've been having issues with my legs again, so I've been in pain. Been seeing doctors all week, so yuck. But I did manage a little bit of writing.
Good.
I've outlined, I would say, a little bit more than half of a potential Star Trek Online based novel. And I've gotten, I think, about 3/4 of the way through a new anthology story. So we'll see.
Wow, that's great.
They were both short, so.
Excellent. Yeah. Well,
did you all watch Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.?
Are you kidding?
What did you think of the follow through?
I'm actually, I thought I was going to be more upset. We're spoilers here, by the way, people. And if you are not watching Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., you need to have banking.
Before we even say anything about that, did you see the articles about why the first half of the season wasn't so good?
Fascinating, isn't it?
That they weren't allowed to be.
Yeah. They had to hold off a lot of this storyline to be released in conjunction with Cap 2.
That was like a mandate.
Yeah. But be that as it may, mandate or not, I'm sorry. No. I don't buy it as an excuse for saying we were shitty. No, you didn't have to be shitty. And I don't think they were shitty. I just think they weren't great.
Exactly.
And I think that, putting it off saying, we weren't allowed to be good until now, that is lazy.
That's a cop-out.
It is a total cop-out. Cop-out. Be that as it may. It's easy now, so.
Yeah, I have to say that it definitely has caught my attention, and I was kind of blech about it before, and now I'm like, wow. And as for the latest episode, still hasn't said it. He
still hasn't said it, but he's a crazy mofo.
Yeah, he is.
What he did say was like, it's like, is he a double, triple agent or something now?
I can't forgive him for killing the I don't care if she's a lesbian, the totally sexy agent hand.
I'm still worried, to be honest with you. I'm still wondering about his boss.
Oh, Bill Paxton?
He hasn't said it either.
Yes, he did.
When
he said it.
That's right, in the very beginning. That's right, when they were.
Because remember, he went.
But I'll tell you what. Yeah, Ward, Melinda Snodgrass, one of our favorite Star Trek writers from the TNG era. I follow her on Facebook, and number one, she's a big gamer, she's a big reader, and she's a big superhero fan. She loves Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. She likes Arrow. She watches them all. And this week, she's been posting a lot on her blog about Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. and how happy she is now that she goes, Ward is a much more interesting character now.
Much.
Yeah.
And you know what?
He's
allowed. The actor is being allowed to chew some scenery.
Yeah. And he's doing it.
He's chewing across from one of the best with Bill Paxton.
No shit. It is so much fun to watch these guys. And I have to say, I'm wondering whether or not we're seeing an origin story for a villain here.
Oh, well, there's going to be a whole bunch of villains now because they let those guys out.
Yeah. Especially the guy in the goop.
The guy in the goop.
He's in a box full of goop.
How awesome is Patton Oswalt?
Did you see my tweet? I want a lanyard.
That was, you know what? That was
Talk
like
about
the
a marketing
ultimate
genius.
That was a fanboy in joke for like conventioneers and stuff.
Oh,
I
know.
My God.
I want a lanyard.
She doesn't get a lanyard.
She doesn't get a lanyard. Oh my God, so funny.
But you just said he was dead. I lied.
I'm assuming we'll see him next week.
Yeah, I sure hope so, because he's great, and you can tell how happy he is to be on the show.
Yeah, it's great. I adore it. I adore it.
I hope he just doesn't die next week.
Who?
The guy that you're talking about.
Oh,
I don't know his name.
Agent. I don't know what his name is.
Did you see the response that I got from Agent Triplet?
I did.
Oh my God, that was
very
hilarious.
funny.
That I made him
very
laugh.
Funny.
Mike, the black agent Triplet, the one that's with Coulson now. Are you there, Mike?
I'm here. I'm trying to figure out who you're talking about.
He was with
Bill Paxton.
And he was with he was like his Bill Paxton's partner, and then he was with Simmons at the hub, and now he's with the group in the secret location, which is now no longer a secret because Ward knows where it's at. You know, I'll tell you, Sky's letting out all these secrets.
The one that you would have thought, the one that for the longest time I thought was Falcon, going up to the movie.
Oh, I can see that.
Do you know who we're talking about, Mike?
Yeah.
He's the only black agent on the show.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. When Fitz was giving him dirty looks, I tweeted, because that guy is really built. I said, Fitz is giving you dirty looks because Simmons is into you. She wants to go to the gun show. And he retweeted it, and then he answered me back, and he said, "Oh my God, that's hilarious. I'm laughing here."
And it's very funny. I love the looks that Fitz was giving him, though. It was very cute.
It's got little green eyes going on.
A little bit.
But yet, who was it that Simmons ran over to and bear hugged?
I know.
Right?
Yeah, I know.
Just saying.
But.
And don't pick on Sky.
I'm not picking on Sky. She's doing it because
she told her to tell Ward.
I know. Well, sort of. Yeah, I'm not sure what's up there.
There's a lot of Sky hatred out there, though.
I love her. I always have. But you know what it is? I think it's just jealousy.
For being young, beautiful, and brilliant?
Yeah. Seriously. Okay, we need to move on to Star Trek news, kids.
Okay.
Star Trek news? I am so proud to be a talkie geek.
We've got our problems with the film, which we'll get into on our dopey little podcast and nitpick it to death.
Star Trek news?
So congratulations to the always dreamy David Mack. There's Legos?
No. Star Trek news?
Yes, the story behind the story. The movie that never was made.
They got a Klingon!
I know.
Sold.
Klingon, that's right. I'm going to throw in a Buck-Mackay rookie guard. That's right, a Buck-Mackay for people. It doesn't get any bigger than this.
Star Trek news?
Well, first and foremost is some information about the current Star Trek writers for the next movie. Not just Roberto Orci, but J.D. Payne and Patrick McKay have been pegged, apparently, or the rumor is, to... we were talking jokes about this, I want to say last week. Mike, tell me about it if we were or not. That, oh my gosh, we're just waiting for another Flash Gordon remake. Well, guess what?
Oh, no.
Looks like J.D. Payne and Patrick McKay are going to be working on a script for the next Flash Gordon reboot.
Oh my God, is Kirk going to have been the quarterback of the New York Jets now? 5 points to anybody that gets it. Oh, Sunsail, stop it.
So I just had to laugh and
Missed you, Sunsail.
I'm so tired of reboots. Next story.
Is it a sorry story?
It isn't, but the problem is
I just coughed up a lung. Goddamn pollen. Strangers in the night, exchanging fluids.
Yay! Whoopi Goldberg wants a role in the next Star Trek.
Met with overwhelming silence.
Well, Guinan was around back then.
Well, she can be in any universe she wants.
Yeah.
So you have to assume she's there too.
Maybe there'll just be an echo of her. Still don't understand that shit.
I like it. Be that as it may, I think it would be cool considering that they are now putting Q into the JJ universe.
Yeah,
IDW announced, beginning in July, the next magazine will have an appearance by Q. It's like, why did they even make a new universe?
Yeah, that's exactly why I was sighing. Hey,
Really, I just need to know. Whatever.
Well, maybe the third movie will have the Borg in it.
Are the comics really all controlled by JJ, or are they just doing whatever they want to do?
It's my understanding that Bad Robot controls their story for their universe. Yeah. Very strange.
I'm just sitting here.
We stuck it. Well, either way, it's a 6-issue adventure with Q in JJ's universe in IDW. It starts with number 35 and is due out on July 2nd. So
I will disagree with you on one small thing, though, Terry. If the previews if the trailer, the movie is as good, I really am not going to mind the reboot of Godzilla.
Well, back to the comic thing. When I was reading the quotes from the StarTrek.com art, no, it was Tina 13's site. They had some quotes there, and it made it seem like they were going to be jumping universes. Q is going to be jumping universes, taking this crew into a familiar space station. So that had me thinking Deep Space Nine.
Oh, for God's sake.
So I don't know, but that's the impression I got reading the copy from. I think it was. Yeah.
I love the fact that there is one. Well, no, the top comment at the IO9 site. There's one top comment, Cheryl Nantis, and she, ugh, what happened to It's a Whole New Universe without any of the old stuff? When all else fails, aka the movies, go back to the old stuff. Yawns. That's exactly the problem, isn't it? It's that we all told you the new universe wouldn't work, and now that it's not working, you're trying to.
But the problem is the new universe could work.
Well, they never gave it a shot.
Lack imagination.
Right. Yeah, it just takes, I don't know, imagination. if fucking Una McCormick was writing it, or Keith,
any of the people who
could
really
you imagine what
understood
Keith
Star Trek
DeCandido
were writing
and Dayton and David Mack, what all our writers, yeah, I called you all our writers, could do with it? Oh my God! Here, how about this? Fucking give it to fucking the Prince. Let him do it.
The Prince,
the Squire,
his lordship. His lordship.
Okay. All of these nicknames. I mean, I'm like.
Well, he's got like 15 because he's British.
That's why I was confused. Okay.
Yeah, seriously. Dayton and Dave and them all love playing in the original universe. This is the original universe in another universe. Give it to them.
Yeah, I know, you know, everybody that loves Star Trek knows, and there's a group of people out there. The fact of the matter is that this is JJ's.
They can't come up with anything new. But Peter David came up with the whole new frontiers. You know,
I know. I get it. You and I, we all understand it. And it's our biggest pet peeve about the whole expanded, or not even expanded universe, the whole alternate universe bullshit. And that is, you know, why create an incredible universe and I'll go right back to the way it was when we first heard about the alternate universe, and that is they lack imagination and talent.
Oh, fucking Michael Bay of fucking Star Trek. They make fucking Braga look
really
like a genius.
Well, yeah, but Braga was in many ways
very much so.
Really good.
It really was. I don't disagree with you there, but it hurts because here we are 7 years later, or it's 2009 plus the 2 years we found. Yeah. 7 years later, when I found out that they were making another movie, and my original opinions have never been swayed because all they do is continuously provide me evidence that I was right to begin with, and that is these are people who don't know how to write compelling stories for IPs that exist, and that's all they do is write for IPs that already exist.
Hey, Bad
they
Robot,
started off with Mission Impossible, and it's been a roll downhill ever since.
Hey, Bad Robot, I've got 3 words for you. Star Trek continues.
Yeah.
Amazing. Yeah. They pumped out original story. They even
for $40,000.
Yeah.
Cheap bastards. I'm just saying, you wasted $150 million a pop.
Is Dr. McKenna on the Enterprise because she was blowing Spock? No. She's on there because of her talents as a fucking counselor.
Physician. Yeah, that's right. Okay.
You cocksuckers.
Well, they're making Flash Gordon now, folks. Because, I don't know. I miss writers. I miss movie writers.
Give it to John Milius. He had a stroke and he could write it better.
They're movie writers. These are.
Go ahead, somebody. Please defend Into Darkness to me right now. I'm begging.
I think half the people in our chat room could write it better.
Oh, you know what?
All of them. Some say all fucking make it insane.
All right. We have some interesting news as far as StarTrek.com is concerned. This week, it was announced that they, after years and years and years and years and years, will be closing their forums. They're shutting down the fan interaction portion of StarTrek.com.
Whoa.
This is a big thing.
Too much JJ complaining?
You know what? I have to say StarTrek.com was one of the very first places I decided to go to because, hey, you might as well go to the official site to become a forum member. And I stayed for a day. I registered back in 2007, and I met my very first internet asshole.
I didn't even know they had forums.
Now, it was 2 weeks after I registered at the forums that CBS summarily fired everyone involved with StarTrek.com, and then the site shut down. This was right before JJ's movie came out. But they left the forums alone. They kept the forums alive through all of that. But now they're shutting them down. Now, me personally, I am thrilled to see a cesspool finally wiped clean, but it also means that that support that had been along, even through some rough times, that CBS is finally saying, nah, we're not going to waste any more money on servers for this. That's my personal opinion, folks, but let's face it, it's a little jarring when you find out that a place where Star Trek fans kind of gathered to begin with is now going to go by the by.
Put this in perspective. Terry signed up. Oh, wait a minute. You went in 2007, Terry? That's when you registered, was 2007?
Yes.
Okay, never mind.
No.
I was going to put it into a perspective that if I thought at first you said 97. I was going to say that's when we were all getting our weekly AOL disc in the mail.
Hey.
Well, maybe now they're making room for, something new. Maybe we're going to see, a Star Trek social media type site.
Well, they've invited the fans in the post about the closing. The boards are closing in May, on May 28th. And by the way, this is also galleries, because the fans have also posted, fan art and galleries in pictures and all sorts of stuff. All of that's going to go away. So if you've ever posted something that you need a copy of or you want a copy of, you have until May 28th to go get it. And that's all of that fan art and fan copy and photographs. And people posted photographs for years and years and years. But they're going to be focusing on Facebook, Twitter, Google+, Instagram, and Pinterest. That's it. As you've noticed, not one of them is a bulletin board forum. It's all more open-ended social media. They're just not going to be investing into that anymore. And to be honest with you, I'm okay with that, because unfortunately their forums turned into I'll tell you what, there are portions of those forums that make the Star Trek Online forums look like they're really, really passive. There were some really, really horrifically horrible people in their forums that were just mean. They were just mean people. And in a sad kind of way, not the representatives of Star Trek that we had always kind of thought about. So personally, I'm thrilled that they're getting rid of them, because it's just one less place for Star Trek trolls to sit and fester. So yay, sayonara. Arrivederci. And, we have the G&T forums now, and the nice people can hang with us, which I'm cool with. And come and play with us.
And if you're listening to this and you come to our forums and you're a member, we don't ban anybody. We don't erase it. I just hunt you down and kill you.
No, you don't.
Oh my gosh. Then I've got a list for you, Nick.
Hey, Baz is already on the list, so I don't know why you're... I'm just saving myself some airfare, and I'll do it in August.
The next thing that I'm posting in the web, the next thing I'm posting in the chat room is from Trek Today, our friends over at Trek Today. And it's something that Matthew Anderson already posted in our chat room, which was the trailer for the new fan production called Star Trek Horizon.
It's a nice not Kirk and Spock and McCoy. Oh my gosh.
No, it's Enterprise based. This is regarding the NX-04, and I'm thrilled about. I love Enterprise. It's my second favorite show. So for somebody to be doing a fan production of Enterprise based or Enterprise era, I'm damn stoked about it. So
for those that may be confused when she says Enterprise, the Archer era. Let's say it like that.
What was that? I didn't hear the last part.
I said it's the Archer era.
Yeah.
That never fails to make me laugh. What just went up on the screen.
Oh, I didn't see it. Oh, the egg.
The singing egg.
Yeah.
The talking egg.
I know the people who are listening to this go, what the hell are they talking about? The egg. Wow. God. It never ceases to amaze me how wrong people are about a lot of shit. Read the comments on the bottom of this Trek Today thing, and it's all about, and I'm thinking, God, they'll never win, because people just cannot get it out of their fucking minds about the actual legal relationship since Paramount and CBS split. They just don't get it. And they don't want to get it. They just want to be angry. Fine. There's Star Trek Next Generation Easter.
You cut off after Next Generation.
Easter eggs. Real Easter eggs. Very cute.
Oh, God.
Yes, I saw those. Very cute.
You remember Weebles?
Oh, yeah. Weebles wobble, but don't fall down.
Were there Star Trek Weebles? Because I was thinking about this. I seem to remember Star Trek Weebles when I was growing up. Or was that just I
don't know.
Something I imagined?
I don't know. Let's find out. It looks like there were Marvel ones.
Yeah, I remember that. And if there's not Star Trek Weebles, hey, John Van Setters, there you go.
Do they even make Weebles anymore?
You know, that's a good question. I had the plane. Remember the Weebles plane?
Oh, how cute. Really?
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't see anything. I Googled it, and what we're coming back with are Star Wars Weebles, and it looks like some other cartoon, but nothing specifically. Yeah, there's a Fantastic Four Weeble set. Star Wars, yeah, nothing Star Trek. And then Patrick Stewart is going to be on the cover of the next Smithsonian magazine, which I'm very excited to say.
Are they putting him in the Smithsonian?
It's his bowler hat, isn't it?
Actually, the magazine is going to be focusing on futurism, and so he's one of the people that they've interviewed with regards to the future of science fiction. They're talking, so he's one of the people that they're discussing. You know, like I said, the future, and so he made the cover. Very cool cover. I'm very excited. I can't wait to see it. Alan and I do subscribe to Smithsonian, so I will let you know more about what we get. There's a nice little paragraph in here where he talks about the penultimate question that he gets set with a lot, which is, who would win if Captain Kirk faced off against Captain Picard? And his quote was, Gene set up certain moral parameters that we endeavored not to break through. And if we did, there had to be a damn good reason for doing it. And you had to justify it, Stewart said. And that made those 7 years for me, for the most part, very interesting because Picard was a thoughtful man. I used to get asked in a fight between Kirk and Picard who would win. And my answer always was there wouldn't be a fight because Picard would negotiate his way around it. Picard saw force as a last resort, an absolute last resort. So I can't wait to read the rest of the interview. I think that's going to be great. So that's going to be, I think, the July.
That's just another reason why we love it.
How great does X-Men Days of Future Past look?
I have to say, it does look better than the last one.
You didn't like First Class?
I couldn't, well, no. I mean, I never saw it because I couldn't even get through the trailer. Whoever cut their trailer needed to be smacked upside the head.
But
aren't trailers what's supposed to sell you on a movie? I wasn't told.
Okay.
Couldn't get through the trailer. Oh, God, it was awful. All right, so the next couple of things, let's talk about fun stuff. Ships of the Line announced. Yeah, it is the future, baby. I love some sales thing. The new Ships of the Line calendar, I think it is.
I thought it was a book.
It is a book.
It's a hardcover book.
I have the first one. This will be the second one, and it's edited by Doug Drexler and Margaret Clark. Due out October 28th. It'll sell for $30 in the United States, $36 in Canada, and you can pay attention. Just keep your eyes peeled to StarTrek.com for more information. But some of the images that are coming out from it look amazing.
Beautiful, yeah.
It's really, really beautiful. I love ships. And speaking of ships, did you see that the Vor'cha is being released in the Star Trek Ship of the Month Club?
No.
Along with the Enterprise E. The Enterprise E and the Vor'cha class are the next new ships to be released in the Star Trek ships or the...
If anybody gets an extra Enterprise E, I'll take it off your hands.
And the Vor'cha class is very cool looking too. Now, I just got my first ship last month, so it's going to be, a year down the line before I get the E and the Vor'cha. I can wait. Really, I can. I want them all now.
I want them now.
But my Enterprise D is beauty. They're really well made. I think that's what I like the most about them is just how beefy they are. They're die-cast metal and plastic, but the printing quality on them is spectacular. They did a really amazingly good job on the paint. That's saying something. Good stuff. You can still always subscribe. And again, like I said the last time, the moment that you subscribe, it starts from ship number 1 and you get ship number 2, number 3, number 4. They're all in the same order because it comes with a magazine. These beautiful high quality print magazines that outline not just the specs of the ship from the show, but also of the model that you're getting. Beautifully done.
Terry, did you ever finish Una McCormick's book?
I'm so glad to say, yeah, we were going to talk about that.
Okay. So are you on to the next one now?
I am. I'm in chapter 4 of Ceremony of Loss. And so with that. And this I thought would make Michael happy. NASA astronaut Steve Swanson, who's currently on the International Space Station, took a picture of himself wearing this fantastic t-shirt.
Yes.
Steve Swanson took a picture. It's pretty much an International Space Station selfie, and he's wearing a Klingon logo. It's a gray t-shirt with a red Klingon logo. It looks awesome.
Yeah, that is cool.
Yay for Klingon fans.
Did you see was it the first Instagram from space, and he was wearing a firefly?
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, I saw that one too. Although I kind of expect, space station selfies to kind of like be upside down or, sideways. Just
how do you know they're not?
I was going to say he could totally be.
Yeah, but it's like, come on, they could have like flipped the photo, so
But he could be upside down in that. That's the beauty of it.
The Earth could totally be right above him right now. I'm looking at that picture. Turn the picture. Oh, just to give you the idea that maybe that's where he was. That's cute.
Just to
They should paint on the walls this side up.
And last but not least, these two stories kind of go together. There's an interesting new. Oh, it's so funny. It's going to start a rant for me. So I'm just letting you know now. This is going to start a rant for me.
Hold on, let me sit back and prop my pillow up.
It started last week. And it was the peeps over at the new Starship, which is a restoration of the Star Trek bridge from TNG. Same group of people who had to schlep the bridge from Los Angeles to Las Vegas, and then they decided to use it as an opportunity to promote themselves by having that show, what was it? Shipping Wars, partake in it. They have gone to crowdsource. This is the G&T buyer beware segment, that crowdsourcing means you're giving somebody a gift, and these people are once again starting to, how do we say? There is a flow of negativity coming in and out of Star Trek Bridge right now.
Oh, really?
Oh, yes. Oh.
This I missed. Please do tell.
All right.
Rant
well,
on.
read the Ars. All you have to do is read the Ars Technica 3-page column about Mr. Huddleston and his projects. And the fact is that instead of completing the project that he set himself out for funding on, the project gets bigger, right? This is the problem that we have with some. It's like, oh, now I have this money, we could do this instead. Now that we have this, the goal keeps getting pushed back and keeps getting more grandiose, keeps getting bigger. So the people who originally donated money never see their
called greed?
Called mission creep.
That's really, really good. It's mission creep. And it's very frustrating for those people who were the original people who donated to see something get finished. And then that goal gets changed on them. But the people who donated in the middle of it were like, oh, well, this I can get behind because this is more fun than what they used to do. This is more fun than what they originally planned. But then the mission creeps yet again and gets more grandiose. And now they're like, well, wait a minute, what happened to me? So there's continuously levels and levels and levels of people who aren't getting to see the results of what they wanted. Now, I got all into this week because something pissed me off this week. And that was last week, the Facebook page for Star Trek Restoration posted this teaser thing of the bridge on a stage and saying, we've got a press release coming up. We've got big, big news. And I thought, Finally, they're going to do something with this goddamn bridge, because they've been talking about making a museum out of it, right? Like, let's make this. We're going to put it into a permanent house. We're going to do something with it. Well, I had no fucking clue. One, they don't have a license to do any of this. Did you know that? They don't have a license.
No.
They don't. They don't have a license. They don't own a Star Trek license to do any of this. What they're doing now is, so their big press release was supposed to come out on Friday from Salt Lake Comic Con, I guess.
Yeah.
All right. So you know what their big press release was?
What?
Yeah, I don't either, because they didn't do a press release.
Mike goes, what? I'm waiting. Mike goes, what? She goes, yeah, they didn't do one. That was a classic moment. I'm sorry.
It was. They didn't do a press release. Now, news leaked out from Salt Lake that somehow that the big news was that Patrick Stewart would be sitting in the chair.
What?
I was less than enthused with this idea. I'm like, really? That's what your news is that somebody's going to sit their ass in a fucking chair? Sorry, that's my rant. I cuss when I rant. So I was furious. I'm like, really? Really? Your big news is that Patrick Stewart's going to sit in your fucking chair. Big news to me would have been that you took the literally hundreds of thousands of dollars that you've raised to buy a license so you could create a museum that you said you were going to create. It's not that CBS doesn't want to do what you want to do. It's that you're not going out and seeking the legal way of doing it. And people who are giving you money to do what? To not release press releases when you say you're going to release a press release. To schlep your crap from Las Vegas or from LA to Salt Lake City so you could say we have a press release and then not do a press release. To have Patrick Stewart sit in your chair to do what? You're having everybody else pay for your hobby. Now, G&T asks for money when we ask for server costs, and we appreciate every single person who helps with our server costs, and we repay them by saying thank you and producing a show.
And Michael writes a very good, detailed rundown of what he's done with the money.
And not the least of which is we have forums as well. And forums cost money to run. And you guys help your own forums. That's where the money goes. We have no problem telling you where the money goes. None. But damn it, if you're telling me that you're going out and telling people that you're trying to raise money to build a museum and then you make not one move to make that a reality, there's something wrong. And I'm pissed because after us coming off the heels of the discussions regarding the funding of fan-produced films and how that mission creep can continually on, when it comes to schlepping a bunch of furniture around, because really that's what it is, the fans aren't getting their money's worth.
Well, I'm looking. There's the apartment complex that I was at this weekend. It's in Boonesboro, Maryland, and it's really cool. It's above the bookstore that Nora Roberts owns. So as soon as a place opens up there, I'm going to move there. So I guess I'll do a crowdsourcing or something and say that I'm doing X, but really I'm just going to use it to move my shit.
I've waited years for this museum to get established so that we can,
when's groundbreaking? I'd love to hear that.
One of the goals that they said that they wanted to do with it was to make it available for fan films. I mean, I've been waiting how long for TNG fan films, and it's like, come on.
So why, if it cost him, as in this Ars Technica thing, it says Huddleston saved what was left of the touring bridge before pending trip to the junkyard in 2011. He paid nothing for the props. He took all of this shit for free, but then he had to pay $7,000 to have the bridge shipped from Long Beach to his home in Thousand Oaks, just 40 miles. So it cost him $7,000 just to get it from Long Beach to Sherman Oaks. Then he had to have
$7,000 to move it 40 miles?
Yeah.
Does that sound right to you? Because I don't.
It could.
Okay.
It could, because it depends on, he had to package them up.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
It's the packing that really costs so much.
Okay.
So to have him schlepped all the way to Sherman Oaks. Now, him getting into cahoots with the producers of Shipping Wars probably paid for him to get it from LA to Las Vegas. How he got it from LA to Salt Lake City, I don't know, except for the fact that he probably used his crowdsourcing money to do it. And I think that's where there's this confusion, is people are starting to get pissed going, what's going on with our money?
Yeah, he's spending it, taking it from place to place, trying to, I don't know, raise more money? I don't know.
Yeah, that's what it sounds like.
But it's like, come on.
He could have used that the original $68,000 to do something.
To lease a location for a year.
Before even leasing a location, getting permission from CBS to do something.
That is true. That is true.
Just to go out and say, I have the intent to build this, and we're going to be using Star Trek name. I need permission to use it.
I had
to
a
make
great
money
line.
off of it.
I had a great line, and I can't remember the play that I want to say. What's the play where the guy comes into town and convinces everybody to give money for something, and then he blows out of town? It's a huge musical.
Oh, The Music Man?
Yeah, The Music Man, because even The Simpsons did Monorail, based on it.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
That's what this reminds me of.
Yeah. Well, the problem is that I have no doubt whatsoever that Houston has every intention of doing something fun and wonderful and great with this stuff, and that's great, except for the fact that he's not realizing that there is this big murmur out there now.
He's caught up in the moment of taking it places to show it off, but you can only put out a teaser trailer for so long before people go, "Where's the movie?"
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
That's exactly.
Show me the mind, so to speak.
Great example. How long? I'm trying to think of a movie that Sandman. How many times can we hear Sandman's going to go into production? There's going to be a movie. Oh my God. It's been going on for 20 years.
Right. Now, Houston's got a 501c3 nonprofit organization, that does exist. So for all intent and purposes, he's a nonprofit organization that is all. The problem is I don't have any information that shows that this guy's got the right to do what he's saying he's going to do. There's nothing here that says that CBS has given him the green light to start building anything.
Quick question.
You mean using the name Star Trek, right?
At all. I mean, yeah, because what's he going to do? Say, oh, this is a general science fiction bridge?
Yeah. Sorry, Mike, go ahead.
In Georgia, the sets that Farragut built and that Star Trek continues uses. Now those are privately owned, but they're made available to for people to use for fan production,
correct,
as well as for tours, apparently, from what I hear. So now, because they don't say that, because it's Farragut Films property, is that the difference between what they did and what Houston wants to do? Is because he wants to tack on the name Star Trek? Is that where a lot of this trouble is coming from, or a lot of this where the licensing comes in, I should say?
Here's the thing. In addition to Radek, Houston has partnered with an organization called Retroactive for the Museum Project.
So just take the name Star Trek out of it and call it Bridge Enterprises. Oh my God, boom, there you go.
Except for the fact that that's probably trademarked as well. And
Bridge Enterprises?
How do I say this? The actual look, the actual structure, the actual intellectual property and design of that bridge is owned by CBS. Get it?
Yeah, no, I get that, but then
No, he's not going to be allowed to make money off of it. But that's what I'm assuming is that even a 501c3, they're not going to be allowed to, they have to have a license to do it. And why not just take some of your fucking money and go get that license and then prove to people that you really do intend to do things the correct way?
If I remember, C3 has to be used for educational and all of that, right?
Yeah, which means that any money that they're going to charge people to come in to use it, and that's where the difference lies. The people at Farragut, they may have museums, but not unlike us, where we can prove that the money that comes back goes into the actual costs, the servers for us. You know, Farragut, do they charge people to do tours? I doubt it.
I don't think so.
Yeah.
I don't think so.
So I'm getting the impression that this is while he wants a big sci-fi museum and he wants to make this the centerpiece.
Well, that's fine, but you don't need, a full museum up and running when you have something that you can already display. You don't need, a whole shitload just to display the...
I'm very disturbed by what I'm hearing coming out from the woodwork on this restoration project. And Nick nailed it by saying this is another example of mission creep. The goals keep getting bigger, more grandiose. They need more money. Again, they raised $68,000 to begin with, but now he's asking for another $150,000. What will that $150,000 specifically go to? He can't say. He's working on all of this. He's working with prop artists. He's working with restoration artists. He's working with a guy to design a museum that he doesn't. To what? To where? There's no cohesive plan put in place, and there's no cohesion of thought of how they're going to get from point A to point B. Nonprofit organization or not, you have to run it as any other business. And a business cannot move forward without plenty of capital, liquidity, and a budget. And you have to stick to that budget, and you have to prove your accounting to your accounting people, especially in 501c3s, because to keep your tax exempt status, the IRS needs to show where's your money going and is it going to what your 501c3 coverage is covering. The guy is really treading on some very, very scary ice right here. And you can see just from this article at Ars Technica that there are a lot of pissed off people right now. I mean, it starts with the whole paragraph, dissent on board, and people are starting to come out saying, oh, wait a minute, this guy doesn't know how to do, it's financial mismanagement, there's some other, it always fucking happens when it comes to crowdsourcing, because there's no, it's like you were saying, Michael, there's no, if those companies or those groups don't have a plan, don't adhere to the plan, and can't prove they're adhering to the plan, you're going to end up with a lot of pissed off people who are donated to or are supposedly working for you and may have been under the impression they get paid for their work, right? Not unlike some of the special effects, groups that we're hearing about through the rumor mill on Star Trek Renegades. They ran out of money. How did you run out of money? Oh, we spent it on other things. Well, you didn't have a budget? Well, we had a budget, sort of. We didn't really stick to it.
Well, that's how Donald Trump runs his stuff, so...
What?
That's how Donald Trump runs his stuff. He just takes money and has no plan.
And he's gone bankrupt how many times?
Yeah, but that was different. I'm being sarcastic because, if anything, the guy is...
No, he has.
Yeah, but he's a meticulous planner, but his market is a lot different.
Well, yeah, and the fact that it's also completely manipulated by other things.
Yeah.
Be that as it may, it started off with me being disappointed because their big announcement was Patrick Stewart sitting in a fucking chair. And then I saw this Ars Technica ad or article, and I thought, this is worse than I thought. This is totally worse than I thought. There's no museum. There's no money for a museum. It's all hot air. And yes, he was able to schlep that stuff up to Salt Lake City. And yes, oh boy, the TNG people got to sit in it. That's great. Woohoo. But what are you fucking going to do with it? Your original vision was to make this available to fan productions and to build a museum around it, to give people the opportunity to sit and have fun with themselves, and that's what people were giving him money for. And that has yet to occur, and it has yet to even come close to having the first step taken in that direction. I don't think people were really giving you money or giving this guy money so he could take it from convention to convention. And we also heard he's not going to have it at Star Trek Las Vegas. Why? Probably because he can't afford, if it took $7,000 to get it from Sherman Oaks, can you imagine how much he just spent getting it to Salt Lake City?
Yeah.
I'm kind of, it is very disappointing. And
I mean,
so,
he had everything pretty much already to begin with, and now he's recreating it? I mean, what was the point? I mean, if you already had it and all you had to do was fix it up, which I believe he had already done.
I liked the idea. Yeah, you're right.
And then all of a sudden now, because it's not an exact, because it's a replica, it's not good enough. But it was good enough for people for him to ask for donations. It was good enough for him to schlep around the country. It was good enough for all this stuff, but it's not good enough for his museum.
I understand.
He's going to create a new one.
I understand there's a segment of the fandom that would be disappointed because the chair was 2 inches too short or something like that. But for 98% of us, what we saw at Vegas was such a jazz that, look, perfectionism is one thing, but perfectionism under or
to the detriment,
bending people over under the guise of perfectionism is another thing.
Oh, that's a good point. That's well phrased. I'm just saying my antenna are up. I think everybody else's antenna should be up. I think that we should, again, it's another one of those things where we're talking about crowdsourcing, asking where's the beef.
This is why something like, I think it was $60 to Athena's Daughters. Okay?
Oh yeah, but we know that's coming.
Right, and because somebody like David Mack, who I found out about it, and then I researched, and the people that were, if James Kerwin or Mark Cushman or somebody that we know was going to crowdsource for one of their projects, I have faith in them. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, and that's because, like I said
because we were talking about the convention, I thought about Kipley, of course, which that's why I said James Kerwin.
But, yeah, and you know what though? But RUR, if
exactly
RUR would totally happen. We know that it would.
Yeah.
And the trailer did happen. And
exactly.
There has been a consistent quality, and it doesn't even have to be quality. Like I said,
I am so impressed with what Axanar does,
and still have a great story. We've talked about that with Continues and others.
I am so impressed with the way Axanar keeps us in the loop as to what they're doing. Right. Every, they've got update number 75, update number 76. They are continually keeping the fans and those interested in that project updated.
Right. And I have to say,
God forbid, transparency is looked at as a novel thing.
Right. And I have to say that in the past couple of weeks, Renegades has gotten better about producing and posting a lot of the work that's been done and where they're at in the past couple of weeks. I have to give them credit for that as well. I think what concerned me about the bridge issue was just the fact that I was expecting something. When somebody says they're going to do a press release, I expect a fucking press release.
It's not hard. It's not hard. I do those every day.
Exactly. You would know how hard. You probably, when you say you have a press release, you've probably already got it typed out, printed, and all you're doing is waiting for the time in which to release that printed paragraph, correct?
We have a regulation that if we have to put out, if something were to happen, let's say a fire where I work, we have to get a press release out within 1 hour.
Right. And that
but if
press
we
release,
announce, because of where I work, we don't announce, hey, we're going to have a press release. But yeah, if we've got something coming up in July, I've already got the press release pretty much done. I'm just waiting to see the amount of individuals, like what organizations are going to be a part of our event. So and I'm just throwing this out there, none of them are. But if the Marine Corps Jazz Band, the Army Silent Drill Team, the Navy Sea chanters and the Coast Guard, drill and ceremony team. We're all going to be a part. That's all I'm waiting on. I've got the date, the time, everything else already plugged in, so that I can put it out on the date that we say, okay, this is going to happen on July 30th, which that's not it. I'm just using it. Let's get the first press release out on July 1st, the second one out on the 8th, the third one out on the 15th. Yeah.
Exactly. And that's what,
It's called a media strategy, which they don't seem to have.
Yeah.
Except to say, hey, we've got a press release coming up. Now everybody's leaning forward.
Yeah.
And you know what? People are going to sit back after a while.
Mike.
I just wanted to say that I think one of the biggest issues in terms of any Kickstarter or crowdsourcing thing is accountability. That is something that everyone needs to be very, very aware of, and that's what I think is missing the most from crowdsourcing in its current form. Is there has to be, because yes, these are gifts, but people are being promised something, and there has to be a way for to make sure that what is promised is delivered. Otherwise, it damages the potential for crowdsourcing.
Absolutely.
All the way around.
It does.
So maybe this is an issue that the crowdsourcers themselves, Kickstarter, Indiegogo, have to look into. Maybe it's something that they need to be.
Oh, they've already covered those areas. Trust me. They've done what they need to do legally to protect themselves. That's all they're going to do.
Yeah.
And that's it. It really comes down to making sure that, again, buyer beware, that you are a smart, well-educated, well-informed person who donates. And you have to be very, very wary. And it's going to be up to us, we as Star Trek fans, to hold these people's feet to the fire and say, your reputation will suffer in the Star Trek community unless you keep your promises. Mm-hmm. And you can't. Mission creep has got to stop. Can't do it. We're going to ask people now, and we're going to call you out now. If you post a project on any crowdsourcing site, Kickstarter, Indiegogo, or the like, even GoFundMe, and if your plans are not completely clearly laid out and your mission creep isn't already listed out, and by mission creep you can call them stretch goals, if those aren't clearly laid out, then we're going to say, you know what, this just doesn't look right. You need to, are your mission goals laid out? Are your stretch goals laid out? And if you don't make a certain amount of money to make a certain stretch goal, you better damn well not ask for more money later down the line to meet that stretch goal. You finish your fucking product as you were funded, and then we'll start to put faith into you, because I'm done with this. I am done with people with the mission, with stretch goals. I'm done with mission creep. I'm done with, oh, well, now I need more money for this. Well, you know what? Fucking make it yourself. Go get a goddamn job and do it. Stop messing with other people's money by saying, okay, well, now I need this. No, but be more Starfleet than that, damn it. Act like an adult and come through.
Garrick would never do that.
Hell no, he wouldn't. He'd
have it laid out from beginning to end.
That's right. So there's Terry's rant for the week.
That was a good one.
I'll tell you, and it all started because somebody couldn't get a goddamn. I never would have thought. I never would have known. I never would have known if they had just said, oh, well, Patrick Stewart's gonna, that would have been fun. I would have been, okay, great. Oh, we have this big press release. I'm like, oh, they got the license to build the museum. Nope. No. Patrick Stewart's going to sit in the chair. Really?
Is there any, this quote, museum quote would be?
Well, considering it cost him $7,000 to get, I'm just being a bitch now.
Like, is it going to be in his fucking garage, or what are we talking?
I don't know. Where is it? Who knows? Who knows? Absolutely, who knows?
Said that they wanted, 25,000 square feet, and they already had a location picked out.
Can you imagine the millions of dollars that it's going to take to build this thing? I don't think.
I'm sorry, did you say 25,000 square feet?
That's just huge.
Was it 20 or 20? Yeah, it was supposed to be this huge thing.
I don't know. I mean, they're going to have to.
I could be wrong about the numbers, but
I think you're right.
I remember them saying they had the location picked out. They already had, they had the location.
So did they make any moves on buying this piece of property? No.
That I don't know.
Yeah, they're too busy asking for another $150,000 to take the bridge to Orlando.
I'm in the wrong business.
Well, that's the problem, is that this isn't a fucking business. A 501c3, and they're not running it like a business. They're running it like a badly run hobby. I mean, it really put a bad taste in my mouth this week, and I never attack somebody if I don't. But damn it, this pissed me off. This really pissed me off because I thought to myself, wait a minute. You know, there's something wrong here. And then after reading what's going on, after reading the Ars Technica, and then finding out that there are a lot of people who are upset, I'm like, dude, it doesn't have to be this difficult. Why didn't you just stick to your original goals? Why didn't you just keep your promises? Why didn't you just use that $68,000? That's more money than most people make in a year. 2 people. And you took that money and you did what with it? You built a new chair and you schlepped it to 2 or 3 other places. People are going to be asking, where's the beef? And that's what I'm doing. I'm asking you to say, why should we trust you with another $150,000 if you're not going to go and try to do something legitimate with it?
I want to start a crowdsourcing for the G&T show for Vegas, and I'll put out a press release about it soon.
The past 3 or 4 episodes, we've been talking about different variations of this theme. I think if you want to do a Kickstarter, then listen carefully. Everyone, out there in internet radio land,
up and down the line.
Yeah, if you want to do a Kickstarter now or in the future, please outline how you plan to be accountable for your actions. Yeah. Let us know what those steps are. Don't just give us stretch goals. Don't just give us, all that is fine, but also tell us give us some checks and balances on how you are going, to make sure that we're going to be holding your feet to the fire, so to speak, or whatever. I don't know.
Right. I know.
How about giving us benchmarks along the way? If your plan is a year from now to have this done, what do you expect in 3 months? What do you expect in 6 months? What do you expect in 9 months? And what is the end goal for 12 months?
That's a good suggestion.
I agree. Again, and if you are going to be asking for crowdsourcing and you want to be able to say, okay, here is the bare bones project. This is what the bare bones project is going to cost us. We would love to add special effects. We would love to add groundbreaking on a new museum. We would love to do this. But all of that is pipe dream unless we reach these stretch goals. And you have to have that budget hard in plan and say, this is why we think it'll cost that amount of money, because this is where the money would go. And give us that information because it allows us as
timelines, graphs, and charts would help.
Timelines. But not even that. It's just to say, look, the bigger the project's going to be, the longer it's going to take, because that's how shit is.
Well,
but we can do all of this for this basic amount of money. And then if that's all you get, if that's the only level that you reach, people,
you have to adjust fire.
You have to give them the bare bones project. You have to finish the bare bones project. You can't come back and say, oh, well, we spent all of that money on this and now we need money for special effects. Bullshit. Look, that was a stretch goal.
To tie this back to something we talked about earlier. Look, we've got our issues with the bad robot and all of that. That's fine. Mm-hmm. But JJ does not go in there and say, this is the budget I need, and then say, oh, this, and this down the line. He's got to go in and say, this is how
it's not like Paramount's going to hand him another $20 million to finish his film.
Yeah, exactly. No matter how much money he's made in the past. Look, George Lucas, they didn't want to get behind Red Tails. And it's fucking George Lucas. He had to pay for that on his own.
Right.
Okay? So
we are
if James Kerwin was approached by 20th Century Fox to do RUR Genesis or RUR,
right,
you know damn well he's going to have a whole plan, and you've got to have that script done by a certain day.
Shot. Exactly.
And that's why sometimes they're rewriting on set, because the script had to be turned in. It's the old Lorne Michaels saying about why
it starts on a certain day.
And it ends
ready
on a
or
certain
not,
day.
You're starting.
It's the old Saturday Night Live thing for Lorne Michaels. Did we go on the air at 11:30 because we were ready? No, we went on the air because it was 11:30.
Right. If you plan on doing a Kickstarter for any type of Star Trek fan production, I'm just letting you know now, as a member of the fandom, you have to treat us as if we were your studio heads. And we as a fandom need to be more responsible with how we give our money. And that is, don't go out and start complaining because you were duped. Don't get duped in the first place. Don't give your money unless you are dead sure you're going to get what you want, because we are all responsible for our own money, okay? So
you're on notice. We are now the
We are all on notice about this. We've talked about it for 3 weeks now. And
We are the Section 31 of keeping our eyes on you.
We have to grow up. That's all there is to it. We have to grow up. And so, yeah, there's nothing wrong with holding people accountable to their promises, to saying, this is what I want to do. Tell them, you know what, then that's what you have to finish. You don't get a second chance or third chance anymore. Just don't, because we'll call you on it, because it's bullshit. It's bullshit. Okay, I'm done with my rant, and I know it was a bad one, and I apologize.
Oh, that was a good one.
I do want to talk briefly about Star Trek Convention.
All right.
Yay!
Shall we just start right off the bat with a Las Vegas update?
Are we still talking Vegas, right?
We are.
Talking about Vegas.
Yes. You're coming to Vegas, right?
Star Trek Las Vegas may take place every August, but on this show.
This is where we hang out the rest of the year.
Exactly.
The crew has been fatigued now from so many months in space, and they need to take a break. The landing party has been down to check out the terrain while the crew gets ready to play. They say there's only plant life living on this lovely rock, but a rodent appears wearing a vest.
They announced somebody new, and hopefully he'll be able to show this year.
I will be there.
I know. I'm so glad. It's going to be a big thing. Now, actually, John Shook this year, and I really want to meet him. I do. I just want to meet him. I love him.
I do too. He's the painless pole.
I know. He's Yo-Yo.
He was great in Babylon 5.
And he's just one of the most amazing character actors of our generation. And I just love him. And Celeste Yarnall also announced this week. She played Martha Landon in the TOS episode The Apple. She'll be in the vendor's room. Now we get to talk a little bit about the G&T presence at Star Trek Las Vegas. Some more news came out this week, which is fantabulous. Don't forget, actress Ms. Kipley Brown will be at the G&T booth Friday and Saturday during the convention. She will be selling her autographs there and meeting fans. She's made appearances in fantastic Enterprise episode, and she's also she's the lead character in Yesterday Was a Lie, which was directed by James Kerwin and co-starred Chase Masterson, and was also co-stars again with Chase Masterson in RUR Genesis, at least the trailer for RUR, which we hope will get made someday in the future. James, I'm sure, will be available at our booth as well to talk about RUR and other projects that he's working on. And then we have wonderful plans to do So What's Your Story? Again, which we'll be interviewing. We're going to create our own list of James Lipton questions, and we're going to be asking the fans those questions as they come by our booth. And we're going to keep a nice little archive of our fans' stories about what made them, what was it about Star Trek that made them a Star Trek fan? How did they become a Star Trek fan? And we're going to keep a nice little, the babes. It's all about the babes. Here's what's going on with Mr. Cushman. The good news is Mr. Cushman will be there.
Kermit Flail.
Mark Cushman, the author of These Are the Voyages, books 1 and 2, which will be out by the time I think book 2 comes out next month, May.
I do believe so.
And book 3, I'm not sure when the release date is, but again, these are fantastic books that were written.
Was it September, Mike? Book 3?
It might be September. I think it's after the convention.
Yeah.
I think it's after, but I'm sure he'll be giving us a few juicy details.
You said juicy.
They're cute, wasn't it? Mark Cushman will be at the convention. He will be available to sign his books, which will be sold by his publisher, Jacobs Brown Press, who will have a booth, hopefully very close to us at the convention. So Mark will split his time. He'll visit with the G&T booth. We will be interviewing him there. He is also a fantastic writer from TNG, folks. And as I also want to understand, he's now involved with the Star Trek Continues project as a script coordinator, or kind of like a script.
Interesting.
So he's involved with the Star Trek Continues group now, which is so fantastic. And he'll be there to talk, because he's a great storyteller, people. He has some wonderful tales to tell. And I highly recommend you stopping by and picking up his book and getting it autographed. And because Mike can tell you, the books are great.
Oh yeah, I'm well into the second book right now, and oh my god.
See, now we're supposed to be talking about books.
Books. They're these bound things with paper and words.
I've heard tales of the dead tree format, but I don't believe them. No, you're wrong. They're this thing that you put on your Kindle.
Amazon ebook. If you haven't bought it, I will cunt punch you. That's a great line.
It's a good line.
Do you read Star Trek novels?
I'm sure Swallow has some stories he could tell us.
I love big books and I can't
That's one of the really good things in life. To me, as long as it's enjoyable to read.
That's a good book. Wasn't it a good book, Mike?
It was.
That's because Mackenzie Calhoun is badass.
No, it is not a Cardassian generational epic.
I was like in heaven.
It's really good.
Right on. The shit that Gene Kuhn went through.
Yeah.
And yeah, wow. So gotta get it, gotta check it out. It's well worth reading.
My two jeans. Oh yes, they're my two jeans.
What else is going on? Talk briefly about books.
You said you finished.
I finished.
The Crimson Shadow.
I finished it, and when I finished it, I tweeted about it. I was having a very.
She's amazing.
I had a very emotional reaction to the end of the Crimson Shadow, book 2 of the series of the Ball.
And now you're reading Ceremony of Losses.
And I
hello?
started a.
Oh, Colin. Hello. Now I sound like Marge Simpson. Oh, Homer.
What the hell? Well,
I had pollen butter in my throat.
Oh, enough said. Yes, I did get to finish. Una McCormick is a master at writing Garrick. A master at writing Garrick. And I was kind of sad you weren't with us last week, Nick, because I talked a little bit about how artfully she put Garrick up against Picard, and how you found out that I now realize what it is, why Garrick is my favorite character in DS9, and why Picard's my favorite captain is because they're the different parts of the negative of a picture.
Yeah,
they are. Picard is Garrick in a more noble form, and Garrick is Picard in a less noble form. He is noble in his intent behind the reasons for every evil thing he's ever done, and Picard is the exact opposite of that.
Okay, question for you.
They're pillars of it, and I love it.
Because this is kind of a very Star Trek-y question.
Yeah.
Considering the Cardassian mindset, were his actions evil, or were they wholly within the right as far as the Cardassian mindset? We may consider them evil.
Oh, I think even Garrick believes that they're evil. He even admits it. By the way she writes him, he realizes, and that's why I cried in Bashir's letter.
After all of his time around,
I was fucked up.
After all of his time around everybody else on Deep Space Nine and all that in exile, but if he hadn't gone into exile, would he consider what he had done evil?
Oh, I think so. I think the Cardassian people know what's evil. I think they knew what they were. That's what happens to oppressed people, though.
Well, but they found the Federation evil for the longest time, which
because
of course
they were told to. Right.
Well, there is that. There's Keith DeCanato's Tour.com Deep Space Nine rewatch. They just got to the Eddington betrayal. There's a lot of things Eddington said about the Federation that were absolutely true. The Federation mindset is, why would you not want to join us? Look how awesome we are. They just assimilate differently than the Borg.
Yeah.
And Gene Roddenberry is now scratching at his coffin to come choke me.
No, we've talked about that before, about that assimilation with
a smile.
Assimilation with but be that as it may, isn't it better to be, you can make the argument, isn't it better to be assimilated into an organization that frowns upon,
But do they? They have Section 31.
No, not since they fucking wrote DS9, okay?
Do you think Putin thinks Putin is evil?
Do psychopaths ever think that they are?
Ted Bundy did.
He thought that, I don't think he was a psychopath. He might have been a sociopath. A highly functioning sociopath. Yeah.
But what I'm trying to say is, look at the actions going on in Eastern Europe right now. Does Putin think he's evil? I don't think he does. And that's how I view how Garrick was before his time in exile.
I think that's what made my reaction, my visceral reaction to Bashir's letter so rough.
Sunsail just turned me on. Picard is a lawful neutral. Garrick is a chaotic neutral.
I'd buy that.
I love her.
I know. I think they're complementary of one another. They show, if you were to hold true to certain ideals as best as that's what Picard is. Now, Garrick is holding true to certain ideals as well. It's just that the means by which the ends justify the means kind of mentality, that polar opposite of Picard, yet they achieve the same goal. That's what I like about them. The one thing I always appreciated about Garrick is that, again, he was as far as I was concerned, he was the most honest character ever written in DS9. He was the most honest character in DS9. And that's what I liked about him, is that he does show that part of, the current American mentality of well, our right is right. Our right is might. And we have to achieve that by any means necessary. Even if that means, giving up our freedoms and losing and letting the NSA do what they want, blah, blah, blah. We all turn a blind eye to it. We can bitch and moan and whatever we say. But you know what? It doesn't make any difference because we're all too lazy.
Now,
and that's kind of how I see the Cardassian people during the time of military rule. That's what happens
I would
under
extend
military
this to
rule.
Mike. The Klingons, the same question applies to them. Now, you got to remove Worf from it because Worf is kind of the prototypical Klingon because he hasn't lived in the Klingon Empire. So he lives, by all his readings and studyings and everything, but not actually being immersed in the system. Are they evil, Mike?
Sorry, distracted. I'm sorry. I apologize. What?
How much of the conversation have you heard?
Very little. I was being talked at.
Kidlets.
Okay.
Oh, the kidlets are there.
Yeah, we were talking about Garak and his. Terry and I were talking about. I said I don't think Garak necessarily, until he was in exile, saw what he did as evil, and then we had a whole discussion about that. The Klingons, their whole system is based on quote honor, but yet there's a whole lot of backroom dealings going on in that honor that cause a lot of dishonorable things, but they don't think are dishonorable because it's cloaked in honor.
It's all a matter of good, evil, honor, dishonor. It's all a matter of perspective. What side of it are you on? Because if you're the one that is acting in what you believe to be honorable, then from your perspective, you're doing the right thing. However, if you're the one on the receiving end of that left, what you're going to be viewing is that these people are evil and they're, dishonorable and they're just trying to kill me. It's all a matter of perspective. What side of the blade are you on? And I think that's going to be what determines your perspective.
Terry, this is why I really... Have you read Rihansu?
Oh, years ago.
Yeah, because that's where, Mike, would you agree? That's where AL comes off as so amazing.
Yeah, again, it's all a matter of perspective.
Right, exactly.
If you're living in it, you're going to see it one way or the other, as good, as evil, as dishonorable, as honorable, But it's when you're away from it, that's where you can really probably get a better view of what really is going on. Are Klingons evil? No. Are Klingons dishonorable? Not really. From their perspective, no. They're always acting in terms of an honorable way. But again, honor is one of those things.
Right, and that's why I don't believe that Garak, when he was in the Obsidian Order, thought what he did was evil. No. Because he was doing the way he had been raised in the totalitarian state. And then the book, A Stitch in Time, it very much shows that.
Yeah, from his perspective, and probably I would say a lot of the Cardassian people, although they may be afraid of the Obsidian Order and whatnot, they do know that they are also looking out for their best interests. So it's one of those things where you're willing to look the other way.
Evil is relative.
It is. What was Sloane from Section 31? He certainly didn't think he was evil.
Right.
Exactly. But
I can tell you right now, even the way I write Cass, I don't write Cass as that she thinks she's evil. In the last, actually, no. I think that she believes that she's in the right. She is a very, very, not unlike Garak and not unlike Picard, my two biggest. I write her kind of based on that. She has she sees no gray. There is no gray in her life. It is black and white. It just happens to that her black is somebody else's white.
I hope we can go ahead, Mike.
History or having that step back view is really what determines whether something's honorable or dishonorable, good or evil. Look at Hitler. In his mind, I'm sure he probably wasn't doing something that is so evil and heinous. But everyone else.
I think that he thinks that he was correcting. I think that he felt that he was making corrections.
Right.
That he was doing something very, very right. And that's what makes people like that so terrifying, is because in the greater majority of our world, I don't think that there's a person that you could go up to and say, do you think murder is wrong? I think everybody's going to answer yes. The people that you kind of get freaked out about are going, and it's the whole, it depends, people you have to watch out for.
It depends on who I'd be murdering. Sometimes I'd say yes, sometimes I'd say no.
It's when you make up excuses to say that this is okay, well, this is okay because, well, this excuse. And that's why Garak is okay with the excuses. And he was okay with the excuses. Picard wasn't. And that's what I liked about those two characters. They're the perfect kind of mirror, yin and yang type of thing.
If we ever get Una McCormick on, I think this would be an awesome discussion with her.
I would love it.
Because she nails the whole Cardassian
Absolutely.
All her writings on the Cardassians are so beautiful that I would love to see how the mindset that she's in writing them, and what kind of research she's done to get into that, based on, say a North Korean type situation, where the people are so fucking brainwashed and things like that. See, the whole reason North Korea isn't able to rise up is because they really don't have the internet. Places like China are doing everything they can to stifle it, and Iran and all of that, but they're seeing the rest of the world, And one thing about the Cardassians, it was not cloaked in religion, which was great. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
It was just that it was their recovery from, what was it that Gold Madrid said, famine and all of that stuff, and the wars that they had been through, and then the military took over because the politicians weren't getting it done. Which, hello Egypt.
It's in the big scheme of things, and in the real world, there's always gray, and there's always excuses, and there's always that. But I'm always intrigued, and I just loved this book. I loved her take on it. I love the way that Garrick is written. I love where his character is going.
Mm-hmm.
I love where Picard was dealing with, because he's left with a little moral quandary at the end of it as well.
Did you get a lady boner at the mere idea of Garrick being on the Enterprise E?
Yeah, I did.
Yeah.
I did. It was really, and I like the fact that even Garrick and Picard understood the oddness of that.
Yeah.
That both those characters truly comprehended how strange that whole situation was, and how, but in the same way, and in Star Trek's best, that shows that you always fucking move forward. There's always, everything always changes, and how do you deal with those changes? I'll tell you, though, starting off in the next book with how the hell is Dax dealing with her situation now on the bridge of that ship, doing the shit she's being asked to do because of how everything changed with Andoria. I'm just...
sweetie, wait till you get to book 5.
I know. Shut up. Well, all I have to say is I'm in the middle of I'm at the very beginning of book 3 of The Fall, and people do not miss this series because it's fantastic.
It's amazing.
It's fantastic, and as much as that there's purist Trekkies out there. Please, even if you're a purist Trekkie, take The Fall and say, you know what? Pretend it's because there's a lot of people out there who are like, I don't like where they're taking the Federation. They've turned them into this evil organization. And I think, you know what? I can understand that point of view, but you have to read these books anyway. Just read them, because in the best traditions of Star Trek should give you kind of a feel back to how the current society in which you live is it works, and that's what The Fall is doing. And it is a window of the time, and it is fantastic.
I'll tell you the truth. I said this as I read. When I finished David R. George's, I was like, okay, the second one can't be as good. Oh my God. Okay, Dave's awesome, but there's no. Oh my God. Okay, Swallow. There's no way. Oh my God, Dave. No. And then no, seriously. And each one got. I mean, it was amazing how they built on each other, and it just kept. It was like they're standalone, but they're not, and they keep upping the ante as far as just what can happen, because they all take place in the same time frame.
Right. I am assuming because of shooty-time and stuff, we did not get an Ask Dayton out to him.
I did not.
Okay. Please,
I have one to send to him.
Oh, good. Okay, I was going to say, please, if we don't have one, get one. But okay, hopefully next week we will have an Ask Dayton. And
bye, Magnum, you beautiful bitch.
I love you, baby. Have a great show. And next we'll be back for the last show in April, and that'll be episode 140. Thanks for joining us. Yes,
and just so our audience is aware, May 4th, I will not be here. I will be doing literal shooty time.
So we're going to probably ask, although he just left, or has he left yet? We'll probably ask Black Magnum to join us again for shooty time.
And I will send Mike and Terry photos of me on the shooty place.
And we will post them in the chat room.
Yeah, doing my shooty things.
Mikey, do we have announcements?
This will be my last qualification on the range before I retire.
Yay.
It's kind of a milestone.
No announcements, Mikey?
Not really. We have an upcoming interview with Keith R.A. DeCanado this coming week.
Wednesday night.
So look for that soon after. Like us on YouTube. Follow us on Mixcloud, and the usual stuff. Support the authors, the book authors.
Yep.
Mike's on a chocolate high.
It is Easter, and he's got a big family, so
yeah,
we have to let the boy go. And I thank you. Have a great Easter, everybody. And if you don't celebrate Easter, have a great Sunday. And we will
Don't
see
forget
you next
Salem premieres tonight on WGN.
And Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. on Tuesday. Damn it.
And Arrow on Wednesdays.
Love you. Bye.
Kapla.
Joel on Fucking True. Love you, Janice.
Music for the G&T show is provided by Warp 11, Grethor, 5-Year Mission, and Andrew Allen's Smooth Federation.
G&T Show is a Busy Little Beaver production.
Gonna take a 5-year tour. Boldly go where no man's gone before. Gonna travel to the end and make new friends. Move ahead, walk factor 10. Put a mini skirt on my old man. Represent the human race. And we make space a happy place. To boldly go where no man's gone before. I think I sang that line once before, but I'm not too sure. We'll be so happy, can't you see? A 0G.